Wolf and Francis Boeck from Western New York Athletics. Marquel Slaughter in the house. He's visiting us from Utica. Rich Sanders. We have Coach Phil Prynn from West Seneca East Hockey, and Jagger Maving, goaltender for West Seneca East. And we are talking Fed hockey, West Seneca East hockey, and just hockey in general. Welcome back to the show. All right, Frank, pick up where we left off.
Francis and I were going to sing a jingle first since we're standing up here. But,
That's scary.
It's better than dancing. Anyways, we'll start with Division I, and then we'll get into Division II and let Phil take off with the Trojans. But Will North, Niagara Wheatfield, off to very good starts. St. Joe's off to a pretty good start, although they did lose their first game just the other night to Lancaster. They have a rematch tonight, 6 p.m. at Harbor Center.
That means Crozier's going to be calling me up any minute now. Hey, when can I come on? Whenever he comes on the show, they just go on a tear and they don't lose.
I talked to Crow this morning. He wanted to send his best wishes. The whole team did to Canisius. They had a very tough week.
Yeah.
But the kids from Joe's wanted to make sure that they got that message across this morning. So, and of course, we're all thinking about Canisius. Niagara Wheatfield lost last night. They lost in overtime to, was it OP? Orchard Park. They're supposed to be having a down year. They lost one of the best goaltenders last year, but OP came away with a very big win. I'm sure Coach is extremely happy about that. Is it Daniker?
Yeah, and Orchard Park was the team that was upset in the quarterfinals to Niagara Falls. So that team is going to be hungry this year.
Yeah, they're very young, but actually a huge win last night over Niagara Wheatfield. Speaking about North, they're 3-0-2. They got 2 ties so far. One of them is against St. Joe's, and the other one is against Wheatfield. They're playing Timon today. I believe the second and third week of January they have to run this gauntlet of Niagara Wheatfield again, Lancaster, and St. Joe's. So their season's always very tough up in one. Brett Sardine is 7-5 for 12. He's off to a great start. Other great players for the Spartans are Andy Bruno, Matt Belinsky, Griffin Green, and Anthony Trigilio. I always mess that. Trigilio? All right. They play very good. And then their goaltender, Riley Moyer, is sitting at like a 2.38 GAA. It's not too bad for Division I. Coach Rosen, obviously having a rough morning after the loss yesterday. Was an overtime loss, but they weren't around too much last year, right? They had a rough year last year.
Yeah, they were a young team last year. They returned forward Chase Woods, who really led them all the way. They also have Zach Belzer on the back end. Nick Peters, Chris Toby are leading Wheatfield in scoring. So that was a young team last year that kind of underachieved, but I think they're going to be poised for a good year this year. It looks like it.
And Lancaster, obviously, with a big win earlier this week over St. Joe's. Kevin Miller back behind the bench there. They did make it to KeyBank Center last year, so they have a chance of getting back there. I'm sure. I was told before the season starts that they may have a down year, and I didn't believe it. And I'm sure after beating St. Joe's this week that room is filled with confidence, and that should carry them. They've got Jacob Jackson, Riley Dursberger, Zach Froyle, and Ryan Voigt, to name some of the players. Definitely caught people's attention this week with the big victory over the Marauders. So, watch out for Lancaster. They're probably a lot better than what people might have thought originally. St. Joe's, obviously a major player in D1. They're a Catholic school, so Lancaster, Will North, and Niagara Wheatfield, they're not going to have to worry about them once playoff time roll around because they only play the Catholic schools. They went 12-1-2 last season. They got, I don't know how many years in a row they've won states. 2 years
2 years in a row.
Okay, so Matthew David, Ethan Luisis, CJ Goss playing very well. Always got to keep your head up when you're playing them when a kid named Niko Pavicic is on the ice. I'm butchering it, but don't forgive me. Good goaltenders, Ben Wepner, and then they got Daniel Mikolajak back. He took a year off from Fed last year, but he is back for St. Joe's, so expect big things from them. They did have a bad injury at the beginning of the year. Shane Sheeler, it was over Twitter and that, so we're thinking about that kid. He probably won't make it back on the ice for this year. But definitely the top private school in the Fed. Franny's is off to a good start, down in 3, though, and Canisius, they're hanging in there, but they're very young. Coach Balsito over there, they're like 1-3-1. I think they tied last night 2-2 with Clarence. Timon is the team that I think you got to watch out for this year. I really like what I've seen out of Timon so far. They haven't won a lot of games, but they've been in games. And I think they were getting blown out last year, if I remember correctly. They just weren't showing up. There's something amiss there with that team last year. Good goalie, but from goalie on out, there just wasn't a lot there, except for Kevin Farrell, who's back. He's leading them in points, I believe. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Watch out for Timon. I think they're going to have something to say as the season goes on. And who knows, maybe they do push St. Joe's, give St. Joe's all they can handle once they get down towards the end of the season. OP, big win last night. Frontiers having a rough go of it. Clarence, big tie with Canisius last night was big for them. I was told they would have a down year, but don't tell those kids that. I mean, they still got to play. So that's pretty much what we have for Division One. Coach, anything you want to add in there? Have you seen any of those teams?
Lost my plug. Hang on a second.
Anthony,
There we go.
I hope you're paying attention because there's going to be a test on it at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Haven't seen much of Division One yet this year. I keep tabs on it, just like I keep tabs on everything. But there's so many Division 2 and 3 teams that are in our playoff format that it's hard enough to keep tabs on those teams. We have 17 teams, 16 other teams besides us. So I focus my due diligence on those teams for the most part. But I keep tabs on the Will Norths, and my assistant coach is a Will North guy. And my other assistant coach is an OP guy. So we do our fair share of discussion.
Hang on. What are you wearing?
Oh, this is this was given to me by one of the guys that works at the high school. He wore this jersey back when he played in the 70s. This is a
awesome.
vintage
Derek, you gotta see
late
this.
70s
Derek's a hockey guy.
East
Derek, look at this
Seneca
guy's
Trojans
jersey.
hockey jersey.
You got to show Derek in the wall. That
Old
jersey. Look
school.
at that thing, man.
With Kensington colors, I might add.
I wore it for the radio.
That's
I would have brought my Burgard jersey, but it's a little messed up.
Not to mention small, right?
I was
No,
gonna say
it
a
fits
little
me.
tight. I don't know about messed up.
It's all ripped up.
It's the holiday spirit. Come on, Rich.
It's a holiday pound cake.
I did have a piece of pound cake.
He's here all week. He's here all week. Why don't we move into Division 2? We could start off with your team, Coach, if you want to. And you have probably one of the hottest goaltenders in all of the Fed with you. To your left there.
I
you
sure
can
do.
choose him.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes starting out, it makes your job easier when you know you have a guy in the crease back there that can stop pretty much everything he sees.
Tell us about his play first of all.
Oh, he made our team as a freshman when I had 4 other senior goalies trying to make the team. I took some heat for that, but I knew it was the right move because I saw the talent that he had, and I knew if we were going to build a team for a couple of years, I wanted him to be the anchor back
That was
there.
your Herb Brooks moment. Remember, they didn't want, who was the goalie? Jim Craig. They didn't want Jim Craig. Like, what are you, nuts grabbing this guy?
Right.
That was your Herb Brooks moment.
Jagger was a standout from the first time I saw him at a tryout. So I think he made my job a little easier there. But he's a phenomenal goalie. He's phenomenal talent, and he makes coaches look really, really good.
What are his
when he
strengths? What is it about his game that propels him to be such a good goalie?
I think the way he prepares. Honestly, I see him before games. He does the same thing. He goes through his routine. He's very serious. He's very calm. He never gets rattled. If he gives up a goal, he doesn't let it bother him. He shakes it right off because he knows he's in control back there. His poise. He's big too. He's got the prototypical body for a goaltender to play at the next level, and he wants it. He's quick side to side. He covers the net. What else, Jags? What do you think?
I don't know. Just
First of all, I have to ask this question because I usually find out that goalies all have quirks. Is there anything about your warm-up that is unique? I mean, do you prefer to be by yourself? Do you like your teammates to pat you on the pads and encourage you? Listen to music? What do you do to get yourself ready?
usually I just listen to music, go off by myself, and just want to be left alone so I can just stay focused for the game.
And what are you thinking about before the game? What's running through your mind?
Believe it or not, I think that I go into every game like we're gonna lose, so I try to stop the puck just a little bit more than I want to.
Is it about angles? You're thinking angles and
Pretty much just get my body in front of the puck, however I can.
don't give up rebounds?
Yeah, just cover everything.
Okay.
Who's your favorite player? Or who do you emulate when you're out there?
I don't know.
Just you do your own
Just-
style.
Was there a goalie that you watched? Is there?
I'd probably watch Hasek a little bit towards his end of his career. So,
I'm just going to say, aren't you a little bit younger to say you've been watching Hatzig? He's
Yeah.
been gone a few years.
yeah, well, when I was first starting to play hockey, when I saw a couple of games, I was like, this guy's pretty insane.
Did you start out playing goalie, or is it did you start on another position and switch?
I started off as a forward for half of my first season. It was dipping dots. It was like a house league, and everyone took turns playing goalie. And it was my turn to play, and I got a shutout my first game, and I said, I think I'm going to stick to this.
That's good. Jagger, I got a question for you. So you said something real interesting there. You said you play as if you're going to lose. So is that mentality like you're always behind a goal, so you have to stop this? It's more important to you? Is that the perspective?
Yeah, that's usually how I go.
That is awesome. I've never heard an athlete say something from that perspective. It's very interesting. And it works for you, obviously.
Yeah.
That's good.
I like what Coach said about the, he doesn't let a goal bother him. That's the biggest thing. You're a goalie, you give up a goal. You can't be worrying about the last shot. You got to worry about the next shot. And it's tough to discipline yourself, especially at that age. So I commend you if you're able to do that. Usually the maturity factor comes in at that age. It's not always there.
Well, you look at, baseball pitchers, you tell them same thing, shake it off if you give up a home run. If you're a defensive back and you get beat for a touchdown, you got to shake it. You can't sit there and think about it.
You got to worry about the next play, not the last play.
Yes.
Coach, last year obviously ended very well for you guys with the Fed going to KeyBank Center, having a big win there. How has that carried over into this season? Who have you lost, and what kind of team do you have this year?
Yeah, we lost our captain, Cameron Mentel, who was our defenseman. We lost Dominic Corey, another one of our captains. He was a 3-year player for us. He was 2-time Bowman Cup. He was 2 very, very, very good players back there. We also lost a freshman that we had on our team last year to Nichols. Cameron Bauer's playing Nichols now. So we definitely lost a few players that were key for us winning. But you can't be upset when your good players graduate. That happens to every team in the league. So what you try to do is try to keep as much of your team intact. And what I try to do is I try to fill spots with certain players and try to build something similar to what we had last year. So, in the case of Dominic, he played so well both ways. He's a 2-way center for us, big, strong, fast. So who do we got that matches him this year? It's different. We have different players doing some different things, so we're really working on trying to solidify our depth a little bit. That's what's different about it, but we have enough returning players. There's a lot of experience in our room, a lot of third-year seniors now.
Mentel has a brother on the team.
Yeah, Connor's a junior for us this year, and he played with us last year as well, so he's back.
You have Tyler Arndt, who scored a very big goal for you last year.
Yeah, we sure do. We like I said,
quite a few actually.
We have 10 seniors on our team that were all on this team as sophomores. So this is their 3rd year with me, 3rd year in this program, and that's what we have. We have a lot of leadership. We have a lot of
cohesiveness.
Yeah, they've been here. They know what it takes to win and survive in the league. And now the challenge this year coming in was, okay, now we're no longer the under the radar team that's kind of playing well. We're now the team that won, and everybody wants to knock us down. So the challenge is matching and exceeding the intensity of all of our opponents, because there's a few worthy opponents. There's a bunch of worthy opponents, and they all want to beat us. So we're getting everybody's A game every night.
We talk about this with football all the time with feeder programs. Talk about the West Seneca programs that are feeding into the Trojans and, of course, the Indians as well.
Yeah, we started 2 years ago. We started an alumni association, a club organization. We call it Trojan Hockey Association. And our website's trojanhockey.org. And what we do is we started a modified team. We started some clinics, and we started a JV team and a varsity club team. The JV team was always there. The modified team's been there for a few years, but we kind of overtook it all, and we started a varsity club team as well. So what we do is we have, and we do some 5th and 6th grade summer ice time, like some 3-on-3, some programming and clinics for those kids too. So by the time they're in 5th and 6th grade, they can already start to put green and gold jerseys on. So they come up playing through our programs. We have a lot of good volunteer coaches. We have a few really good parents that do a lot for us, and all these young kids saw us win last year. So all of a sudden, you walk into a pro shop and there's Ihss hats on the shelf and there's Ihss gloves on the racks there, and I see kids around the rinks wearing them, and it's like, wow, that's incredible. So we started that last year, or 2 years ago, I'm sorry, and those are the kids that play JV for us. To go back to what we were talking about, last break, those are the kids that we can keep them on our roster as practice players, and as long as they're eligible, and then if they're playing on our JV club team, we can have them practice with us, and if we need them, we can call them up, and that's the system we're kind of working with now, and it works quite well.
The great thing about that is you're able to keep your eye on the talent, and you know what's coming up. So when you're preparing for the upcoming season, you know what you have. So maybe you're going to be speed orientated. You can adjust your game to fit what you have coming in.
Yeah, that's what we do this year. Like, we have so many guys back, and we've asked them to play in different roles over the last couple of years. So if we ask a certain line or a certain player to match up against a certain player for the other team, or hey, we're going to have to play this kind of style against this team because they like to do this, they've been around long enough, they've played in enough games that they can do that. So if we know we're going to need to score extra goals, we can maybe tee it up a little differently. Or if we know it's going to be a grinded out game with like Grand Island, who they're a very good defensive game, we know we're just going to have to play tight defense and match them because they're physical. We might have to tailor our game plan a little bit too. But with the guys we have back and the experience we have, that's what we look to do.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, one final segment of Inside High School Sports Talk Saturday is coming up next. Make sure you keep it locked right here on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Coach, where are regionals for you guys?
Maybe Syracuse.
What's that?
The states are back here.
Yeah, third and possible final, but I'm hearing
The tragedy.
Hearing the
Extension. I'm hearing it's going to be longer.
Yeah. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hearing too.
That'd be nice.
I mean, they still got to argue
Yeah.
the case, but
Yeah, they're gonna have 2 teams or something for.
Oh yeah, Section 6 does get the extra bid this year. So both teams that make it to Key Bank are gonna move on.
so you have a shot. They have a second team in both divisions.
Or is it just small schools?
I think it might just be small schools. We were told, for sure.
Does the small school top team get an automatic bid then?
Yes. That was what they were trying to do. Is they were trying to decide if it should be the regular season champion or both teams that make it to what did they decide? I want to say they settled on the regular season champion gets the automatic bid, and then the winner, the Key Bank gets the other bid.
They started yesterday. They started canceling school.
So-
Or the loser.
So I'm like, you know
Yeah, or it
what?
could just be both teams that make it. There was a vote. I can't remember which way the vote went. I don't remember which side I was on. Honestly. I think I may have voted for the regular season champion because it gives you something to really.
Yeah, because a team can just go on a run.
And then you get a great team that loses.
Yeah.
You get a great team that loses in the playoffs like on one bad break.
They had a great goal.
And then you got a team that maybe just squeaks by and then they get to a state. So it's probably better for the section if you guarantee a top team in there. You know.
Sizzler? Is it
I've heard of
Sizzler?
him, man.
Sizzler?
The goalie from last year,
He
right?
was unreal in opening.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
There's I think they won 3-1 or something like that.
Yeah, like 3-1 or 4-1.
Shots were like 56-14 or something like that.
Probably one of the best goaltending.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that I got to see in high school. I mean, they couldn't beat this kid. They could not beat this kid. It was a great moment. We're gonna have now. We'll be down at Northtown for the pre-quarters and all that stuff. So we'll be up in that room. So what we want to do is before the game, is get the coaches to come up after the game, one coach and a couple players, and we'll have them seated, and we'll do it all Facebook Live and a couple other things. So we got some pretty cool things that we want to do at quarters, and then obviously as it gets to the state. We'll get out to the regionals. We'll go.